my side, and best greetings here from Germany. It's very early in the morning. I want to tell you a little bit about how you can build your intelligent workplace with Microsoft Teams and the AI Builder. Yeah, for sure, we will also touch Power Apps and Power Automate, but I want to focus on the form processing. So how can you get a digital version maybe of your service reports and so. But first, let's start. So we all know that's a great event going on today, or I think we are nearly to the middle, so I hope you had a great event so far. And if you are interested in more events, then yeah, you can mark your calendar. And thank you to all our sponsors. Without them, such an event wouldn't be possible. So please check if some of these sponsors are for you, that you can work with their products and so on. Okay, so let's introduce myself. My name is Nicole Enders. I'm team lead in the department Cloud Workplace Solutions at Conat. That's a company in Germany. And my main focus, it's a little bit split. So it's on the one side, it's social intranet, collaboration, and the modern workplace. Based on Microsoft 365, and on the other hand, it's the Power Platform, so how you can build your processes based on the Microsoft products and maybe some other products as well. You find me on Twitter with the handle Nicole Enders, without the double E in the middle. And I have also a blog where I write about several topics. And as you can see in the upper right corner, I'm writing a lot of books. They are all in German at the moment. So my blog is in English. The books are in German. There you see that I come from Germany, that I am focusing there more with my books. But enough about my person. Let's start. If we are talking about collaboration in Microsoft 365 and you open office.com after you've logged in, then you see a lot of applications. And yes, there are so many applications, maybe you don't know where to start. And I think it depends on which are your main use cases. What's the right tool for you? And use cases, that's a good point. So if you want to choose the right collaboration tools, think about your use cases. And here are some examples. So working together on a document, that's a well-known use case, or a very popular use case when I talk with my customers. Also, the whole topic around exchanging information is very important. So if you want to exchange information with somebody in an ad hoc character, so you want to chat with somebody, you don't want that the chat needs to be stored for forever, but maybe you want to ask a question, and the other person should give you some feedback or so, then you want to exchange this very ad hoc character. In some cases, you want to spread information in a company-wide area, so that's some kind of intranet stuff you want to do, or you want to build a corporate network or even external networks. And there's different tools in Microsoft 365 where you can do this. For us, that's mainly it's mainly SharePoint, Yammer, and Microsoft Teams. And all the other use cases you may have, so maybe managing tasks, sharing knowledge, supporting business processes. There are other tools, and you can think about how to integrate these tools into your daily work. So, for example, in my company, we are working with SharePoint and Yammer. And as Microsoft Teams appeared on the horizon, I know that's a few years ago now, but then we had to think about, oh, how can we work with now these three tools? Maybe we use Stream or Power Apps for special use cases, but for our daily business, we have now these three tools. And I want to tell you my story here. First, I had more a focus on Yammer for exchanging information, and today it's totally Microsoft Teams. So that's a application I have in my auto start. So that's the first entry point for me every day. And Microsoft Teams has also some use cases. So think about project teams, or if you want to work together in a community, so you need to exchange some documents, you want to chat with the others in your community, maybe you have some tasks you have to work on, and you want to track who is working on which topic in the community. Maybe you want to do some brainstorming on a whiteboard together, then that's an option here. And even collaboration in and between org units. So maybe an org unit has its own team, but what about working together with another org unit, or even working together with external users? So maybe your customers or your partners, or even your suppliers. You can invite them to one of your teams, or they can invite you in one of their teams, and then you can work together as you did this with a team where only internal users are a member of. Yeah, and if we look on today, you can even do some events with Microsoft Teams. So you could start a normal meeting where everybody can participate in, or you can organize a huge event where you have a few presenters and a lot of attendees. Yeah, and for sure you can even do phone calls. You can share your screen and so on. But what's also an important topic at the moment, because a lot of kids are at home today, and I have this homeschooling adventure. So digital learning is also an option with Microsoft Teams. Yeah, and what don't we see at the moment here on the slide? It's all about business processes, because building a business process and integrate it in Microsoft Teams, that's the next step. So if you start working with Microsoft Teams, then you have a focus on collaborating with the others, exchanging information, working on documents, and so on. And then if you have this focus, then you think about, okay, why should I leave Microsoft Teams when I want to upload my service reports to some colleagues so that they can work on, and these colleagues would even think the same. So why should they go to their Outlook or to a special system to get the information they need and then to continue working in their teams? So I wanted to show you a solution for this. Okay, so Microsoft Teams itself, I said, it's the collaboration tool in this Microsoft world, and it can be your central entry point. So when I start my PC in the morning, then I have a look first on the notification here in Microsoft Teams, so I see what's going on. I integrate my different services right here. So SharePoint, Planner, whatever I need, but even external services. So in my team, we have a lot of developers in my team, and we are using Jira. So we integrate Jira in our teamwork here too. And what I really like is that we have mobile apps for Android and iOS. So I can even stay in touch with my teams while I'm on the road, maybe sitting in my car, or when I'm at home. Maybe I don't have or I don't sit at my PC then at this moment, and I have my smartphone with me, so I can see everything what's going on. So, and what's going on with Microsoft Teams? Only a short introduction for everybody who's not so familiar with this tool at the moment. So we have our different teams there. So you see the CONET, the CWS developer team. In the live demo, we will also see a special team for this demo case. You have also the option to substructure your team. So maybe this daily stand-up channel there, and you can see if you got new messages. So you can also see this in the notification bar if you have unread chat messages, if somebody mentioned you. And that's also important if you think about business processes, because if I get a new task, for example, and I should upload a new service report, or maybe I'm the person who has to work on the service report later on to create the invoices for a customer, then it would be nice that I get a notification that something has to be done. Yeah, search and command bars, I really recommend to use this in Microsoft Teams. So if you start with a slash, then you get a list with all the available commands. And with it, it's, for example, quite easy to switch between different teams. So there's a go-to command. I use it very often because I'm a member in many teams. And as I said, working together with external users is also a topic. So you can invite others as a guest in your team, but if you are invited, then you get this drop down. At the moment, it's here for me, CONET DE. So that's the tenant I work in when I work for my employer. But I could also switch to another tenant and then work with my customers. So he has the data in his tenant, and I can work there as I did this here in my original environment. Okay, but what about the situation when we are very good in working together with Microsoft Teams, and we did work on documents and so on? Think about a business process. This woman here, I call her Tanya. She says, I need a business application. Maybe we have a process already, or she has a very old application, and now she's impressed what's going on in Microsoft Teams, and she wants to integrate this process right there. In the past, she would have called a developer. She would have told him all the requirements she has, and then the developer would develop a solution. She get it later, and then she has to think about, okay, where do I want to use this application? Maybe on my smartphone, maybe in Teams, maybe as a standalone application. Yeah, and She doesn't know at the moment. So what I really love is that the world has changed. So I'm a Lord of the Rings fan, as you see. So everything changes at the moment. We see this in the current situation, but it was going on for a longer time. So Microsoft offers us so many tools to build our applications in a low-code way. So you don't need the hardcore developer to build many of your business processes. And so in my opinion, it's time for the citizen developers, and you can build your own app. And we'll see this in a few minutes. So we will build an AI model, we will build a Power App and integrate it in Microsoft Teams. So if you do this, you can do so much more. It's only a first idea how you can get started. So, and how are we doing this? I love the Microsoft Power Platform. So only here, Tanya is thinking about, oh, okay, there are so many options. I don't know how to start. I see the sheet, and yeah, Power BI. Should I start with this, or maybe it's Power Virtual Agents? So it's the same as we had if you log into office.com. So you have so many tools, and where should you start? I can only tell you what I did. I started with Power Apps. I built my first Canvas Power App, and then I continued with Power Automate. So I wanted to store some files in my SharePoint document library. I wanted to give it a lot of metadata, so then a flow in Power Automate is the right thing. And the next one for me was the AI builder. So that's the focus for today. All the other ones, I know they're very, very interesting, and you can or you should check them too. But for me, I wanted to focus on some tools. So for me, it's Power Apps, Power Automate, and the AI builder. Yeah, and now the example. Oh, you will see this in the live demo, but I wanted to give you a few ideas before we go there. If you're thinking about service reports, here in my example, that's a template made with Excel. I fill it out at the end of a month, so I have to fill out a header section there where you see some information like a contract number, the customer, the decision makers, that's the person who signs my service reports on the customer side. And then we need some project relevant information. So what's the project name? Who's the project manager who has to do the second check when we get the signed version from the customer? And maybe it's an internal information with the project number. For example, my company, that's it. For the customers, the contract number is more relevant. And the project timeline. So when did this project start? When did it end? And who is the consultant who is filling out the service report? So after this, we have a table. And there you have more information. So for every day where the consultant was working for this project, he tells what is the milestone he was working on. We have a description. Then that's more contract relevant, which consultant level he belongs to. So maybe you have different prices for different consultant levels, and the effort in hours. So at the end, we have a total effort. Yeah, and at the top right corner, also a created date. So when did the consultant create a service report? Yeah, and as I said, we have this template in Excel. At the end, we have a PDF version because that's the signed version we have later on. and the customer sends us the signed version, for example, via email, or he could put it into Teams, but we have no metadata there. And if I'm a project manager, then I get this PDF, and maybe I get a lot of PDF because many consultants are working for this project. And then I have to think about how can I give this information in a structured way to my colleagues who will create the invoice, because that's not my job. I will only forward this information to them. Yeah, and that's where I really love the form processing in the AI builder. So here at the moment we are in the Power Apps studio, and if you look on the left side, we have there the AI builder in the navigation with 2 menu items, build and models. So if you start, go to build, because the model list will be quite empty. And you can see there are different options where you can start with. So you have the option to do an object detection. That's, for example, if you have a lot of images and you want to detect on which image is a special form or a person or whatever. You see this here with the example of a bicycle here. But for today, we want to go with the form processing, because I want to read a lot of information out of these PDFs I get from my customers. And if I click on this, yes, you see this here in the header section. It's a premium component, so please be aware of the licenses you may need. You will see this in the live demo that I have a trial version, for example. So you get a notification when something is not right with your licensing. And first, when I start with my AI model, I have to give it a name. And you can see the wizard tells you what he needs to create the model. So he needs at minimum 5 documents of the same type, so you can create this model, because otherwise it doesn't have enough data to identify that the creation date, for example, is at the top right corner. Yeah, and if you enter the name, then you can say, okay, let's create a model. And then you have to upload the documents. Maybe the documents are already in a SharePoint library, maybe they are still on your PC. You have different options there. And if you uploaded your documents, then you will see the documents there and you can click on the Analyze button. If you do this, then you get a message that can take a while. I did this last weekend in preparation for this event today, and I had, I think, 15 documents, and it was taking several minutes. If you only have 5, because that's the minimum, then it can be quite shorter, less than a minute or so, but it depends. Yeah, and if you have uploaded your documents, the wizard will ask you what's going on here in the service report. So he detected some fields, but you have to select which fields are relevant to you. And as you can see here, I'm going through the header section. I already added contract number, customer, and decision maker, and currently I'm here. That's a project name. And you see this with the blue border, so he recognized that social intranet with Microsoft 365 is the project name. I see this in the pop-up there as well. And if I go on the checked mark, then I tell the AI builder, yes, you recognize this in the right way. If I don't want that this field is called project name, then I could click on the section and also modify the name. So maybe I only want to call it project. Yes, and so you do this for every field you are interested in. And as you may see at the borders of around the table, it recognizes that the table contains information. And this table can be used later on in, for example, Power Apps to store each row of this table, maybe as a SharePoint list item, or to send it to an external application. So with Power Automate, so many things are possible. In this demo, I only did all the total data and not the table. But you will see that's quite easy to get there. So, and that's only the point. If you created your model, and please don't forget to publish your model, because otherwise you can't use it here in Power Apps or Power Automate. If you published your model, then you can say, okay, now I want to use this, and I want to use this in the Power App, and then first version of a Power App is created for you, and you start with an analyze control here. All the other ones, here's this labels with consultant or project or the total, that's added later on by yourself. But the analyze control is already there if you generate a Power App right from your model. Okay, and I think that's the time where we want to go to the live demo. So what do we see here? I said at the beginning we are using Microsoft Teams, and I have a team here for service report management. So that is mainly for my colleagues who create the invoices later on. And we created a channel for service report scan. So maybe my colleagues decide, oh, Nicole, you as a project manager, you should upload your service reports from now on here. So please don't send me an email, or don't tell me I've uploaded the document anywhere. We want a central location for every project manager to store the files there. And to do so, we will give you even an app. So maybe if you are sitting at the customer's side and he gives you the service report in a printed format, then you can use this app to take a picture and to upload this service report even to us on this way. Okay, so here at the beginning we don't have so much information. We have only here a special tab, so I click on this, and that seems to be a special library, and we have also some service report there. I opened this in SharePoint itself, so we have here a document library with a lot of more information. So that is the information I get from my service report itself, like the contract number, the project name, or even the report date. And this information can be quite important for the person who creates the invoice, because she can create several views on this document library. Maybe she can assign herself to such a document, so her colleagues know that she is working on the invoice for maybe this project or something else. And if we see here, she can also get into the PDFs by herself. So we have more information here, but as you can see, there's no information as we have in the table, because at the moment that's not the interesting part. It's only how you can work with this. So maybe let's go to Power Apps. And as I said here, you would see, okay, if you aren't using the AI builder for now, then you can start with a trial. That's for 30 days. And you can get a guess when I prepared this this demo for today. So I get a notification that I should go with the whole license of the AI builder. Yeah, and then you go with the form processing. Give it a name. So we start this for now, and then if it's training, then we can switch to the Power App at the moment. So service, because I have also this one. And then I can add my documents. And I said to you, you have different options. For this moment, I have this in my local storage, so I will upload them from there. And I have here my folder with all these documents. And as I said, 5 is the minimum. If you have more, that's so much better. Even if you have some reports where you have a little bit different layout. I tried this a few days ago too. It recognized a lot of stuff. So maybe a report date in one report, it is at the top right corner. At another report, it may be a little bit later, but it recognizes the format of this date, and then it gives you some suggestions. Could that be a report date or not? So now we are uploading, and as you see, okay, I have my 5 documents and I start analyzing them. So they say you that it may take a few minutes. The next step, as you can see this here in the left navigation, is okay. The next step would be selecting the form fields. In some situations, it pre-selects some of them for you. In other cases, you have to select them completely on your own. And if you have some special cases, and I think we will see this in this demo too, then it doesn't recognize a field which is important for you. But don't be worried. You can select this field manually then and say, okay, I need this information later in my model. Maybe I want to use this in a Power App or in a flow. So you can do some kind of freestyle marking. And yeah, that's the issue to work with. So it has analyzed our documents, so no fields are selected. I click on this, and as we see, okay, I can go here with the contract number, recognize this, the customer, the decision maker. I don't want that customer is here after this, so I delete this. The external website. Project manager is right. This one, the project timeline. So maybe here, for example, you have 2 dates in here. Maybe you want to split them, so that would be an option to only mark the first part and then to mark the second part. For now, we are going fine with this. And this time, maybe I did this demo too often. Here, the consultant was not recognized in previous demos, so I had to do some freestyle stuff there. I want the total, and I want to have the report date. And here, this table, scroll up here a little bit, or not. So I see here table 0 with date, milestone, description, and so on. So you recognize the different columns right here, and I could use this too. For the moment, I don't want to do this. So I say, okay, these fields, that's fine for me. I'm done. And then I can go to next. And I can train my model. And if you do nothing more and you click on the train button, then it would do the training with the 5 documents you already uploaded. If you want to do a real training, then you should have more documents, so you can upload them here and then start the training. And as I said, it's so much better if you have many data for this model, so then you get really good results. So he says, okay, training is complete. In some situations it takes a longer time, so you also get this pop-up, and he says, okay, it can take a while. Go to the details, go to the list of all the models, and come back later. So for now I can go to the details page. And as you can see, I'm not in the build section anymore. I'm now here in the model section. And it says, okay, these are selected fields. This is a training document. You can use your model later on in Power Automate or in Power Apps, but please don't forget to publish your AI model. So I'm publishing, so it's available for all the others, and if it's published, then I can say, okay, I want to use this model and I want to go with a new app or a new flow. If I go with a new app, I do this for this moment, but then we go back and see what I already prepared. Some like I'm cooking, I prepared something. And as you see here, your app is completely empty. You have only this form processor control here, and you would also find this here if you go on Insert AI Builder Form Processor. So if you start with a Power App from scratch, you can say, okay, I want to go with Form Processor, and then you have to tell which model is behind this. So, but I said, let's see what I already prepared. If I go here on models again, you see I prepared a model called Service Reports, and I created an app. Our app here we don't see at the moment because it's not saved so far. So that's also an important part. If you are working with your Power App and you're working a long time, please don't forget to save it by your own. That would be done with here files and save. At the moment it's only called app, so that would be nice to give it a special name so you can find it later on. And in my case, I called my app Service Report Scan. And maybe we check what's going on with this app before we see how it's implemented. So I started with my app and I said, okay, I need a landscape layout because I need a lot of space to see what's inside the table. I want to see consultant and the project number, and I start analyzing. So what should I say? I'm using here Sebastian Bond. I analyze the data, and as you can see, okay, it recognized Sebastian Bond. It's from this report date, the project, that's a mix, that's the project number and the project name. So I combined these two informations here, and I see the entered data. I have a total, and then I could say, okay, share with the team, and I do so in a few seconds. But here in this preview, you also see, I know it's very small, but you know that, or you see that there are some percentage marks, so it even tells you how much or how sure the model is that it recognized the right information. So, and then I share with my team, and that's only a demo app, so you don't get a feedback at the moment. So maybe you want to switch to a second screen and tell the user, oh yeah, your document, it's uploaded, everything is fine, and so on. So for this moment, we have to check this on our own. So I go back here to service report management. And I see this here. Okay, my PDF. That's my PDF. I can see what's in there, but I have a lot of metadata right in here where our colleagues creating the invoices can work on. So how did I do this? I go back here, my service report scan app. That's my live app, and I could use this from a tablet, from a smartphone, or as I'm using it now here with my browser, from my notebook. So service report scan app, I go here on edit, so we can have a look into it. Okay, and if you are not so familiar with Power Apps, here on the left side you have a tree view about all your components in your app, and first you have this level with the screens. So at this moment I have only one screen. I could add a second screen and tell my button that when I click on this and it did what it has to do, then it should go to a second screen. But for now, we have here my form processor, who has here this text analyze. If I want to change this, I could change the text here. I called it also here scanner. For you, if you add this, this would be called form processor 1. Yeah, and I have nothing to do here with this control. So the whole magic is in there when I set in the AI model, I want to create a Power App. What I did is I added some labels here. And I said, okay, in this label, I want to have some description. So what information should I show there? And I said, okay, I want to show the consultant, and then I want to show what the analyzer here recognized. So if I go on scanner, and I have here display fields, then it gets more information like consultant, contract number, created customer, all these fields we had in the AI model. So I can work with them. And here in this example, concatenate, that's the function we use to build such a whole text with some fixed text and some variable text as a result of this analyze process. If we go here on this label, it's a little bit more because I want to combine project number and the project name. So I can add a lot of stuff here. So I could even say, okay, maybe I want after this with some brackets the project manager or so. That would be even possible. Yeah, and then after this, I said, okay, for now I'm only going with the total. That's nearly the same here, and I want to give here a data table. So if I go on insert and I tell here data table, then I can say, okay, I have here my data table. I need some items. So I have to tell the data table which data it should show. And then I say, okay, from this scanner, because that's my form processor, I go to tables, and I didn't name it in a different way. So the AI builder suggested table 0 as the right name. I didn't change it, so at the moment it's not really readable. So please, if you create an AI model with some tables, give it a name so the person who builds the Power App, even if it's not you, should know what's going on, which data you can expect there. If you have the data, then you can go here on the property tabs again, click Edit Fields, and you see here all the fields in the order you want to have. So looking on the time, I think I need to hurry up a little bit. So let's focus here on the button, because there the magic is done. So I have here a data connection to a flow in Power Automate, and I called this connection upload service report. With run, that's a command to execute the flow, and I have several commands or parameters I have to give with it. So every metadata field in my document library I want to fill out. So project number, consultant, that's a mix up to create the file name. As you can see, I'm going with PDF for the moment. Then I have a lot of fields for the metadata. I have also I want to go with the created date as a real date time format, so I transform it here. And I have here a special case because I want to store the file itself. I don't want to go with the normal SharePoint list. I want to store my service report as a document. And the original image property, that's a way where I can get the information that I want to save the document itself. So as I said, that's a flow. So maybe let's have a short look into Power Automate. We have here this upload service report flow. And here you see, okay, I'm going with Power Apps. So this flow knows that I click on a button at Power Apps, and then everything else should be done. And the main actions here is creating a file. So I say, okay, where do I want to store this file? It's in the following SharePoint site. It's in a library called Service Reports. And then every time when you see this Power Apps logo, you know this information is asked for in Power Apps. That are the parameters we saw a few seconds ago. And here's the same. If you have uploaded your document, then you want to set the metadata, and these are all the asked metadata fields, so I can do the update. The only issue I had building this flow was the file content, because the original image property of my form processor doesn't give me the right format to store it in a document library in SharePoint and to open this document anytime later again. So I needed this compose action. You see the output of the compose action here. And here I'm doing some kind of dirty hack or so. So I get my document from Power Apps as a base 64. And I want to transform it in a binary, so I have to do this with here such an special expression. If I'm doing this, then I can use this flow. And the last point would be if I created my Power App and I published and shared my Power App, then I want to integrate it maybe here in my my team too. So I could use this app in every team, maybe in every project team. But for this example, we are going with this channel of the service report management, because in some cases, the colleagues who create the invoice maybe want to scan a service report, which they get at the moment as a printed document or so. So they maybe some situations where they need this app too. So they are adding a tab and they go with Power Apps. And as you can see, we have different examples here. My service report scan app, that's the one I want to add here. I want to post in the channel that there is the app. And then it's integrated here. So for you, that's the option. If you build several Power Apps, if you are using an AI model or not, that's up to you. But you need this. You can use this option to integrate your business processes into your daily work. And I have only one last slide, I think. We go here. So how to start your intelligent workplace. That's not technical, this checklist, but take responsibility. Be a citizen developer, because with the Power Platform, all of us have the options to start building a business application. I know that there may be requirements which you don't or you cannot fulfill with the out-of-the-box functionalities, but that's the issue where, or the point where you can talk with a developer who gives you the right options to then continue working on your app. Learn to use the tools of the Power Platform, and I really recommend to start with Power Apps and then going to the next tools there, and create a quick win solution, for example, as I did here for Microsoft Teams, integrated there, and inspire your colleagues. So together we achieve so much more. And if you are talking with your colleagues and you share your knowledge and you talk about what you're doing, then you will have so much fun together, and you will build a better workplace for yourself and maybe also for your customers, partners, and so on. So that's from my side. Don't forget the raffle. I think you saw this in the other presentations too. Thank you for joining us. It was such a great time. Now I think every time the sessions, the time flies. And then thank you. And if you have any questions later on, please feel free to connect with me on Twitter. I'm also on LinkedIn, and you can visit my blog. If you have some ideas or some questions, I always love writing about new topics when I get some input what you are interested in. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Nicole. Do you mind answering some of the questions that we receive in Q&A?
Yes, for sure.
So the first question is it possible to train AI Builder with documents that are not forms? Example, business letter that contains money values, but this variable is always at different position in the letter. Is that possible?
So different positions. Yes, I tried this. It's not so easy as I showed this in this presentation. So if you have different layouts, then you have to work a little bit more in this section where I assigned the fields. So then you have to go to every document you uploaded or you used for the training, and you have to say, okay, here in this document the field is at this position, and the other document it's at another position, but you have options there. A few months ago that wasn't there, so I was really happy by preparing this demo that we have now more options.
All right, thank you. And the next question is, does AI Builder also read Word document or just image and PDF? If not, then would I use Word specific connectors and a template?
So at the moment, you can take a picture. You can go with the PDF. For other documents, I didn't try it so far, so I would think about a connector. but I would have to check. But maybe that's some of my research points for the next weeks.
Yeah, I think I do have some of the background coming on AI Builder, so I do understand the base 64 where you use, right? I think it's only exposed to PDF and PNG or JPEG, right? So the last question is it possible to post messages from Power Apps to Team with attachment and tag a person in the message?
As I understood it right, then it's for if I want to post a message in Teams, then I would do this with the flow I showed you. So he uploaded, for example, the document, and then I would say, okay, go with a post in the in Teams itself. So there's an action and flow to do this. But
all right, and all right, so I think the answer is yes, it is possible. You just need to go and explore a couple of actions that are available in Teams that you can use your boat experience to post your adaptive card and kind of little approvals that you can run in there, right?
yeah.
Great. And the other question I have is, can you post in the chat from your end the code that you use it in Run button or sorry, share in Teams from Power Apps and the action that you're using in Compose in your Power Automate? So if you can share that in the chat, people can get it, or else you can probably share in a blog as well. I'll leave it to you.
I would say I wanted to create a blog article about this session today. So I think on the next weekend you will see this there, and then I can share this this command there too, so everybody can find this.
Yes, and we also have the presentation and as well as the recording from the session stored in Microsoft 365 channel on YouTube. And I think that's where you can go and look it out. And if very specifically you want to ask question from Nicole, the address is right there on the screen that you can go and connect with her. As you know, she's so lovable, and I think she's so open to the work and investigation. And she'll love to hear from you guys if you are doing some research around the Power Platform and Microsoft Teams and SharePoint, right?
Yes, for sure. I always love if somebody calls me or writes me a message. So please do this.
Okay, and the last question I have for you from the person is it possible to connect Azure Studio with AI builders and teams? Can you give me some examples if you have?
I have to check this. I did never ever try this because I think that's such a difference. Visual Studio is more for the developers. This is also this Power Platform stuff. It's more consultant or end user level. So I don't know if there are options.
Great. And I think since we have demonstrated today a lot around Power Platform and SharePoint capability with this quick demonstration, I think it's a cool and super insight of what you can do and take it to your next level. But Azure Studio is something that I also insist to take a look at my end. It's a great question. Thanks for asking. All right. Thank you.
Thank you, and have a great event or the next sessions. Yeah.